Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Lyndon Batista. I'm a writer from Trinidad and Tobago. This video is divided into two parts. I'll be reading from my book, Oh My Testicles, and then a little bit later on, after I read the first chapter, I'll be jumping into a live question and answer session with viewers. So, a little bit of background on this book before I get into it. This is the first book that I wrote, but it is the second book I published because it felt a little bit crazy to publish a book that was named Oh My Testicles as your first book. I guess it's like being cast as a bad guy that nobody could ever see as, and they could never see you in any other capacity after that. So I published a book called 90 Days of Violence first, and as I got a little bit braver, so to say, and came to terms more with the story, I decided to publish this book. Originally, the book should have been called The Right Ball in the Wrong Pocket, but I thought that name wouldn't make sense to anyone. Oh My Testicles is a true story. And in 2008, 2007, 2008, around there, I got something called testicular. And if you're not familiar with it, it is something you see it like your testicles, right? They have what you call the spermatic cord going to it. So picture it like two thin little hoses going towards your testicle, and they could kink the same way that a hose could kink. And when it kinks, the blood supply to your testicles is threatened, just like the water would, not come to the nozzle if the hose is kinked. So you're at risk when this happens that you could, if it's a severe case, you could lose your testicle like literally in about 8 minutes or 9 minutes. That's what the doctors said to me. So when this happened to me, I would move through in this story a series of events from a medical doctor to Port of Spain General Hospital to Mount Hope to private healthcare facilities and all, and given the nature of the pain and the problem, it is, in retrospect or looking back, it is a little bit kind of comical, the some of the scenarios that I ended up in. So this is the book, Oh My Testicles. I'll be reading piece of the first chapter, or maybe all of the first chapter, based on how it's going. As I mentioned, this video is divided into two parts, where I will first do the reading and then I will get into a live question and answer session with folks in celebration of reaching 1,000 subscribers. And this is a big thank you to subscribers and viewers that come to the channel. And I just wanted to give back to you all because you all show so much love to me and the people that I work with and my family, and by extension my parents. So Mr. Harry, Mr. Bat, and everyone that I work with along the way. So thank you very much for being here. I'll get into the question and answer session in a bit. So we're reading Oh My Testicles, page 1. If you need to get something to drink, now might be a good time. This is not a smutty book, so it's up to you if you want your kids to listen to it. That's up to you. So, Oh My Testicles. Let's get started. City life. I stood, hands on hips, gauging the handiwork of a job which could have been finished in hours, but was now in its second tedious week. The bedroom was a small airtight furnace with four walls of rough concrete slabs coated with splashes of vibrant orange and yellow. Yet the previous green, once a source of easy flattery, still peeked out mockingly. Brushes, rollers, tins, cloth. I seen brushes, rollers, tin, cloth, cardboard, and blotches of paint were scattered everywhere, the latter across the dusty grey tiles on top of the cupboard and on my arms and face. Mumbling, I tested the ladder's sturdiness with light bounces on the first rung, and with a languid nod, purposed that the task would be completed before the new bed and executive tempered glass desk arrived at dawn. Renewed but still muttering angrily, I scurried up the stepladder and carelessly leaned my 200-pound frame against the top cap. Without warning, a searing pain struck. So I leaned up on the ladder a little bit badly. My goodness, what was it? It was neither my stomach nor appendix, but my testicles. No, It was only a testicle, my right ball to be precise. I became stunned and only through divine intervention regained my balance but not my composure, and with wild gesticulation 6 feet above ground level, I grasped the ladder. I still do not believe that being either shot or knifed is as painful as the pangs which, like little red devils armed with electric pitchforks, stabbed the areas around and through my groin. Given man's proclivity to intensely guard his genitals, I hastened to cup my source of dismay, movements which catapulted the tin of the paint off the ladder's platform and down to the tiles below, painting the floor in a brilliant sea of orange. A more urgent matter had surfaced, and I wobbled away from my duties to my parents' bed, which sadly was empty. The ramifications of critical illness are phenomenal, for it is as crucial as death, engaging as marriage, and as lonely as a graveyard. Even the sluggard struck by a pandemic is forced to adopt science, diet, or philosophy. I had on one occasion even heard of an atheist who wept bitterly that God would lighten his burden when death was at his doorstep. Subject to such conditions, man has the capacity to, I must admit, only temporarily, and without hesitation, I was wagering that a man would more readily agree to lose a finger, maybe even both hands and legs, to save his manhood, because the penis, like the vagina, remains the single gateway to sinful pleasure, matrimonial joy, and procreation. I am neither proficient with medical terms nor homeopathy, but as I lay besieged by soreness, I concluded that there wasn't a single identifiable incident where I had heard a male complain about a testicle. It was always their jewels at risk. So I lay discomfited and spent a sleepless night lying on my left side. And when the sun peeked inside the next morning, I telephoned my cousin to take me to the doctor. And no, this couldn't wait until later. This was a matter of life and death. To my pleasure, we arrived at the general practitioner's office at 7:30 sharp, but this joy was short-lived as Dr. Narayan was the best and cheapest in town. Even though both gates to the establishment were closed, there were already a host of pallid, reticent folk lined against the borders of the compound and staring inside with blank, watery eyes as if beyond the shut brown door was life itself. At the entrance was a ponytailed, red-skinned chap who was conspicuous not only because of his height, but also because he was slouched over the gate in agony, his legs spread apart, holding a handful of crutch. Maybe he had a ball problem too, I thought. At 7:45 on the dot, a giant of a man barged out of the office, locked the brown door behind him, and without a word to the anxious patient, snapped open a heavy-duty lock and almost flung the main gate open. While he fussed over the side entry, the sick filtered in disorderly and manned the free locations closest to the entrance. Interspersed among the huddle, Roxanne explained to me that each morning, my cousin, except on Sunday, Dr. Narayan's son opened the gates at the exact hour. And for a brief moment, forgetting that she had a toddler in tow, I became worried that perhaps my cousin was not as well as she appeared. How else would she know that every morning the man has opened the gate at exactly 7:45 a.m.? Without warning, though, my pain struck again, and I impatiently unsettled the crowd with hurried excuses. And in the southwestern corner of the courtyard, I sat on a weather-beaten concrete bench which joined another at an acute angle and was shaded by a gaudy metal shed. I don't know whether minutes or hours passed, but I must have dozed off because when my eyes opened, there were about a dozen people sitting with me. Roxanne was to my left, her backside halfway off the bench, an unfamiliar novel turned to page one, dangling in her hands. To my right was a fat white man engrossed in an oily roti, and a disinterested East Indian lady to whom he was complaining that he was here only to secure tablets to curtail his cholesterol and blood pressure. An unlikely couple was sitting on the adjoining bench. Then there was the red-skinned fella, still slouched against the open gate and casting wild sideway glances as if he'd had a premonition that he would be robbed. So if you're still watching the video, thank you very much for joining. I mentioned that tonight I'm doing a reading on my testicles. I'm about 2 or 3 pages into the story, and in a bit I'll get to the live stream to answer any questions that you all may have. And thanks again for your support. These books are available on Amazon.com. There are hard copies available on Kindle, and if you live in Trinidad, I could deliver them to you if you're interested in ordering them. Suddenly, the giant swung open the office door, and a long line engulfed the courtyard. But Roxanne lurched from her seat and hurried across the courtyard, intercept a woman at the entrance, and disappeared inside. You know, we like to line up in Trinidad. Seconds later, she returned with a dog-eared yellow card fit for the bin and held it up to me for me to read. I said, "Oh, he works by a number system." "Yes, he does." Roxanne was legendary for her abrupt sentences. "You see, Lyndon, a lot of people arrive early. He's an excellent doctor, you know, and quite cheap. It's only $40 per visit." "That real cheap," I said in colloquial Trinidadian dialect. "It's good to see it have a doctor that still care about poor people." The white man adjacent to us coughed, but Roxanne continued. "He also does a lot of nice things for children, you know. Every December, he sponsors a party with lots of toys," and I interjected, "Roxanne, I'm really worried about my testicles. I feel I'm going to lose them, you know. Can you imagine to have one balls?" "It's one ball," she corrected, "and no, I can't imagine what it would be like." With a chuckle of my own, I added, "Especially in our family, girl. I mean, you could imagine the heckling that would take place." "Lennon, don't blight yourself, boy. You'll be okay." "Hey, what's up?" She explained that inside Thank you. She explained that inside the office she had secured position 6, but the unpleasant red-skinned lady whom she had intercepted had protested even though she herself had managed to lift card 9. Now pay attention there. She lifted card 6 and she managed to lift card 9. However, Roxanne, being the good Christian that she was, had conceded to the lady's tantrums and allowed her to take her place, but they didn't exchange their cards. So while I bewailed, she joked I got a 6 for a 9. Time crept by. 1 hour later, I was an impatient patient and unable to further bear the moans and groans of the sick. So I stood and walked to the door, distributing more weight to my left foot. The reception area was a small, sweaty room filled with females sitting in chairs lined up along the walls as if they were awake, and to the center was a rickety coffee table partially hidden by a stack of outdated magazines that might have been there since the practice began. A lopsided poster hung from the partition facing the entrance and dictated in handwriting as crooked as a stick that the office was 25 years old. To the left of the poster was a door which led to the doctor's office with a yellow number 5. The current patient drooped on it. When I stuck my head further inside, I noticed the secretary's desk nestled in a small rectangular area filled with dozens of cream boxes holding patients' profiles and barricaded with a crude burglar-proof gate because times had worsened in Trinidad. I signaled to Roxanne and she closed her book on page 1 and scurried across just as patient 5 exited the doctor's private room. You might recall that my Christian cousin had, through verbal contract, allowed the red-skinned woman to proceed ahead of her without exchanging cards. I waited as patient 9 hurried towards the door, slapped her card to the protruding nail, and disappeared. It is only now, as I write this, 2 days after I had been discharged from Port of Spain General Hospital, that I can appreciate the comedy of the ordeal. However, at the time I was incensed and exclaimed, "Geez and ages, the person with card 10 going and think they next." I abandoned the thought and focused on an old television which was fastened to the far corner of the wall that met the security gate. The stupidest program I had ever seen was being aired, a game show where the winners were promised a spectacular trip to New Zealand. However, the genius twist to the apparent daily broadcast was the contestants were homosexual couples. A girl of no more than 6 sat next to her mother, absorbed by the host and lesbian duos as they exchanged infantile questions and incongruous answers. Roxanne, guided by an impetuous force, declared how absurd. I utilized the distraction to inquire whether or not she believed that any of the other patients were here to lose their testicles. "They're all female," she said, and flipped her book open to page 1. So I'll pause there for a bit and interact with you all in the live stream question and answers. Thanks for listening. And just to kind of reflect on who's here and just scroll through the list and say goodnight. Just want to greet some of you all. Reaping what you sow. You're first in the house, brother. Boy, I hope you're doing well. I see Nadia Mongol. Hi, good night. Good night to you. And Anne Marie, how you doing? And hello from hello to Ravi. Please tell him hello. Jennifer, congratulations on yours. Keep up with the good family and otherwise vlogs. Always enjoying your content. Thank you very much for your support, Jennifer. Appreciate it. And Maureen, thanks for the congratulations as well. Prakash say I am not a bushman and I'm in that position. Let's just scroll down a little bit to catch up. Simi, how you doing? I always, I've seen some names showing up here that I always look forward to. The me all is very supportive. One of the things that I need to do on this Raw channel, I haven't been responding to comments by text as I do on the other channel, but I want to follow up with you all quite soon and respond in a very different manner than you may be accustomed to. So Prakash say big up Kim. Thank you very much. She in the house right now. Kim, what you saying? Waiting there, Ruthie. Oh boy, and this is mine here. Yeah. Thank you very much. So Kim in the background, and I get a little. I tried not to eat flour, but I get roti, and I haven't. The last time I ate flour was last night. I had a doubles last night. Yeah, I eat one doubles that didn't make. So shout out, big up to everybody, and I see Nadira Awong. Hello to you. I've never seen your name before, but thank you very much for your comment on doing a great job. Good night, bro. Congratulations to you and the family. Hey, that sounds like a song. Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm scrolling through here. Emily Smith, you say you're watching from Switzerland. Thank you very much. You're watching from very far away. Are you at Trini based in Switzerland? What is the time in Switzerland? It's 8:17 p.m. right now. I see Betty. Congratulations, Linda, on reaching your 1,000 subscribers. Good night to you and everyone else. Thank you very much. The View 868 is here. Good night, bro. I'm doing well, brother. I the View 868 is he has a YouTube channel as well and does things like tech reviews. I haven't seen him posted recently, but we chatted and I look forward to seeing content from you and reaping what you sow. So Winston, Indio, in Doi. Good night, bro. Keep safe. Thank you very much. And hey Jacob, sorry, Jacob. Yeah, I saw your name pop up earlier, and I don't think I mentioned you also. Good night to you all. Jacob has another YouTube channel as well. He and his family. So if you're into that type of content, Jacob, in one of the videos, you say something that make me laugh. You say I do a grocery haul in Tobago. So I didn't even think about it at the time, but that's that's true. The only thing I waited to do now is a Pennywise haul. 1 second, let me taste my wife cabbage and corned beef and roti. Thanks, Kim. Yeah. Good night, Kim. You are a wonderful wife and mother. Blessings.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is it because I brought food for
It's a long time she hasn't heard those words. So Emily Smith say yes, it's 2:18 a.m. in Switzerland. Time to go and sleep. Wow. Switzerland always look nice in pictures and on postcards. Switzerland is just postcards. Long time when somebody visit that place and they send back them postcards where everybody could read the contents. Yeah, that's the only time I ever see Switzerland. Shamid Hussein. I binge watch your other channel whole day today. Couldn't stop laughing at your parents' Tarzan movie. Yeah, that was, here's the thing, right? Kim is my favorite. Yeah, Kim is a favorite around here. Especially when she bring roti for you. My parents, so Shamid, thanks very much. I've been seeing your name kind of more popping up on this Raw channel here. And I appreciate seeing it. Sometimes when you're doing work like this and you start to see names and they become familiar and it's like, when it shows up, it means so much and is a big form of encouragement. I think about the work that that YouTubers do, or content creators, wherever you may be, on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever the case might be, and the effort that you put into it. And then you think on the flip side of it, the person that's consuming the content and taking the time to watch it. And I'm well aware that you all may be watching the content from very different places and spaces. So, for example, you might put on your TV, and it might just show up on the news feed, and you look from there. And it doesn't go as far as subscribing or clicking like, because I'd even click like on videos if I happen to be watching YouTube from the TV, and I even signed in. And that's the act of viewing the content, even if it's 30 seconds in, a minute in, or the entire thing, and then going a further distance to click like, and to click, leave a comment where someone sits and they think, and they about what they want to say, whether it's just good video or they go a little bit more in depth. And there are people that leave, like, I could think about some names that pop into my head: Zahira, Trinio 324, and would leave historical type data or their experiences there, comment on being to a restaurant, and that means so much to me. Where whatever spaces is, whether in Lyndon Batistro, whether it's on Kimberly's channel, it really means a lot that you all take your time. And that is why I spend a lot of effort on these videos, because I try not to, yeah, I waste people's time sometimes, but generally I try not to waste people's time. And when as the other creators in here could relate to this, and leave their own comments, as your channel grows, whether it's in terms of viewership, or people clicking like, commenting, or subscribers, it puts they call it a nice pressure. It puts a nice pressure on the creator to do better. And I think that's why I jumped across the Lyndon Batiste Raw, because there's a lot of effort that I put into the Lyndon Batiste channel. And I think there are a lot of other ideas that I've always wanted to explore. And I feel thankful for my writing background, and being able to kind of plot out some stories like this. In that, you could, I just wanted room to experiment. And even the people who jumped across here and would say things like, hey, I appreciate these long unedited vlogs, I still try to put structure to it. And I just really appreciate it. Long story short, I appreciate what you're all doing. Shumid, I also started watching Ellis's Food and More, as well as your brother Lasana. Real funny too. Yeah, man. Natural natural humor that they have. Someone, Shumid, you comment. Wait, I'm saying Shumid and it's Shunid. Wait, is that a M? Shunid.
Like Sinead.
Shunid. Sorry. Old age. That's not glasses. I had to go and test my eyes again. Shunid. Sorry for saying that. I'm Shumid there. You were talking about my dad and my mom and the Tarzan video that they did. And I want to go back a little bit in time and recognize, because someone left a comment on when I was talking about this live stream here. It's kind of reflecting on the journey, whoever it may be, subscribers, people that you've worked with and whatnot. And that was a very helpful comment, because it helped me put into perspective for tonight what it is that we, what I wanted to do. Just to say, hey, really kind of reflect on that process, and what got you. Because I posted my first video probably sometime back in 2007. It wasn't even on, I don't think it was even on any of these channels here. And it started with my dad getting a point and click camera. As I mentioned before, dad had throughout the years a strange kind of habit of buying technology, but not necessarily using it. I could think about him going away and getting a cell phone, and then getting a point and click camera. And perhaps meant more to him that he had it than to actually find utility out of it. And he taped, there were some guys on the road doing some construction. And he said to me, it was around the time I had done my first book, 90 Days of Violence. He said that, hey, let's do a little kind of skit about this construction that taking place on the street now, because we had perfect drains, and then these guys come along and they started building drains, and it ruined a perfectly good job, and they abandoned the job for a while until others returned. And Daddy wanted to make a skit about it. Where he get that desire from, I don't know if it's his background as an editor or reporter or whatever the case might be. But he wanted to do it. And because I had a little bit of experience with Windows Movie Maker, I was like, all right, cool, let's film it. So we filmed it. YouTube was a space. We uploaded it. I unfortunately used copyright songs, and years later, YouTube muted major portions of the video. So that video, even though it is there, we can't enjoy it because, well, it's muted. So one of the first people after God, looking at human beings, and the people that I need to thank, mom and dad for the influence that they have had, and but it's good genes that they give me along the lines of our creative side. Well, yeah, thanks for the good genes, if that's what they call it. Um, so yeah, mom and dad have been a really huge influence, even when I dropped YouTube or creating videos, because I wanted back then to start something like Red Wall News, because I was into daily show. From time to time I would see it, and it just, the son of my brother wasn't interested in it. And I how I remember it in my head is like, all right, cool, my big brother not interested in it, I just go in and shelf the idea and not worry about it. So I would tape things from time to time and maybe upload it to YouTube. I'm a programmer, so I do like HTML programming videos. There was a time I'd see. Do you remember that? Is I think Jimmy Kimmel? He had something called uncensored videos where he would censor like perfect words, but it would sound like a cuss word coming out of the person's mouth, right? So I did like a kind of unnecessary censorship was the name of the segment. So I did an unnecessary censorship video with things like political speeches and whatnot. And I thought it was funny, but people really didn't care for it. So thank you, mommy and daddy, for your influence. Even when as I was saying just now, even when I stopped and they got an iPad, they continued. They were doing videos on Facebook, and they have
Comedy corner.
Comedy Corner. They were doing something on Facebook called Comedy Corner, and they would post, and some of these things would people would respond well to it, and then people wouldn't respond at all, and they were persistent with it. And what I want to say for those of you all that may be watching, and you're a video creator of some sort, some sort, writer, whatever you may be, artist, there will be a number of years that you do stuff, and you might just be a kind of voice in the wilderness, as they say. But stick with it, because Daddy and they, when they jumped, like I started posting videos on Facebook, and I grew my audience there, and I moved away from it because, and with great encouragement from my wife Kimberly, and she said, "Move over to YouTube. It seems that the requirements that Facebook has for things like get monetized or attracting viewership, it does seem sustainable, and maybe you should jump to YouTube." And I left behind about, well, not left behind, but I jumped from Facebook having about 5,000, what do they call it on Facebook, followers or something. Yeah, 5 to 6,000 followers, and I jumped over to YouTube with a channel that had silly, nonsensical, disconnected videos. And she says, stick with it. I was doing Red Wall News at the time on Facebook, and I need to thank. That's the second person that I need to thank, my wife, because when I started Red Wall News, Haley was a little girl, and Haley was just born, and I would be there trying to figure out what this editing business was about and how to kind of get the voice for writing a script for Red Wall News. We were living in Central at that point in time. And my wife tolerated me a lot. And she still tolerates me a lot. So I want to thank my wife and my immediate family along the way. And I am using the camera here today that I started. Forgive me, I need to start eating this roti because I'm talking to earlier and this again a little bit hungry. Forgive me. I promise not to eat too much. Mm-hmm. Just give me 20 seconds. Okay, great. So, Maggie, I'll continue that story in a bit. Maggie said you're watching from Texas. New subscriber. Recently started watching your blogs. Enjoy your shorts. Beautiful family and a really kind heart. Keep it up. By the grace of God, I will try to. Thank you very much. The good, the bad, and the big head. Yeah, that is like real old school, just taping and uploading nonsense. The View 868 talking about Red Wall News during COVID times. Enjoy the Sada, bro. Yeah, enjoying the Sada. And Jacob, Jacob, we like mention that from time to time, but somehow we never bounce up even when you came up to Cora here. But I look forward to it. Maybe at one of these special YouTube meets that Trini out and about doing or in some other capacity. I love your shorts as well. They always brighten my day, especially the ones with you and your mother-in-law. Hey boy, I need to thank my mother-in-law, boy. My mother-in-law just has a way with words that I appreciate. And I would approach her at times and it's like, Ma, I have this idea. We call her Ma. I have this idea and I just want to kind of explore it a little bit. And she'd be like, yeah, all right, cool. Just don't tape my face. Don't tape my face. It's like, all right, Ma, cool. We roll and I ain't taping my face. And I don't want to hear too much of me talking too, right? People gonna recognize my voice. And we did that video when we went to the market, and then she had some videos where she like one of them where she had my clothes in it, and then we did one where these guys had faked the kidnapping in Trinidad. Two guys from Chicago, Syria. They faked the kidnapping, and I was like, I want to do a video where I fake my kidnapping and how different people would respond if I was to call them. I'm not sure if we had called her out of the blue. And then Daddy, we had called Daddy, and he was part of it and whatnot, and he had, kind of like went along with a heart attack. And not long after, father come and get a heart attack. So that was like, all right, cool. Don't trample, don't take the comedy a little too far there, So so I'm sure your food is delicious. Your first daughter is your replica. The second has you, Kim, and your parents. And she really, you'll have never seen her, but you should see Kimberly's sister. Boy, that is like you just carbon copy, shrink, and say, right, that is you there. It's like you're born again. So things you go along, and I'm speaking here to viewers and creators as well. When we were doing Red Wall News, just around the time that Gary Griffith became the commissioner of police, there was a couple of days into it, there was a kidnapping. And in this kidnapping, it was people dressed as fake police. And I did a Red Wall News episode that probably took me 5 hours to edit, and it was about 2 or 3 minutes long. And it was about fake police. You post something, and then it just strikes the right at the right time, and it was something that people were very concerned about and still concerned. It happens in the news. I saw it about 2 days ago, skimming the news, and that video did extremely well on I was still on Facebook at the point in time. Big support. I feel to some extent that I have kind of abandoned people who started to follow on Facebook. If any of you all are here on this channel watching this right now, I need to do a better job posting there, but YouTube has kind of become more focus. So back to this idea of you post something and it does extremely well. And then you're kind of thinking about, you're grateful for the support, and then you're wondering, well, how am I going to follow up with that? And you follow up with something thinking that because of 100,000 views has done so well for you, the next thing going and score, man. So you sit down, you probably think about it a little bit harder, and it just flops. Which is exactly what happened to me. Don't be discouraged if you are a creator and maybe you've been posting consistently, trying to find your space, trying to find your right voice, your right idea. I think even when you see this book, Oh My Testicles, even when I wrote this book, I think I was maybe back then using a voice in writing that wasn't really authentically mine. It is I get good responses on it, so it's not to say that it's not a good book. But if I am being honest with myself as a writer, I feel like wasn't who I am, who I like how I'm speaking to you right now. I'm not conscious or being mindful. I just had Trini talking to some people right now using the voice that I speak in. And stick to your voice. Stick to what you're doing. When you post a video, sometimes they even bother to look at the video afterwards or to even think about what the comments after. It's kind of just about, yes, you want to have a community that you're nurturing, you're appreciating people's responses. This live is a form of me showing the appreciation of it. But you just want to kind of keep moving forward, moving forward. You post a video, move forward. What was the next idea that you're going to explore? So thank you very much to the support of these people. Let's get a little bit moving along in this story, jumping over to YouTube, posting there for a while. People start to show up in the comment section. I don't have it on a second screen right now where I could see the commenters, but I have a video planned where I will be doing something of that nature. So I'll get to capture everything that I don't get to see here tonight, and names that need to be called, I'll say it. Don't cause analysis paralysis. Yeah, don't overcheck. And that's something that is a very easy trap that you could fall into, even no. If I'm not careful, if I'm not mindful, you could get so distracted by numbers and thinking, why this video not doing good? Why people ain't liking my video? Why are they ain't subscribing? You get tired with all them things, you're just going to ruin the pleasure of being an artist. So I jump over to YouTube and you start, kind of maybe paying attention to people that doing work. And I want to mention a little bit of, I mentioned the commenters already, something that I have planned in store. And somebody shows up. There's a YouTuber that shows up in the videos, and I start looking at this guy's work. And I start getting an appreciation for what he is doing, the space that he's doing it in. And I thought that maybe this is somebody that let me look through his videos. I look through his videos. You're seeing evidence of the work that he's done in his community, and then visiting different places. I just somebody creating videos as well, and I realized that in his journeys, he has been to a lot of places in Trinidad. A lot of things have done well for him, and he's reached as far as Point Fortin. And I reach out to him and I say, you know what? I have family in Icacos, and I would love to take you to Icacos. And it's like, would you like to collaborate? Would you consider collaborating? And as the first person, and I'll call his name now. His name is Shine's Story. Shine Story was the first person that I've ever reached out to collaborate in terms of the appreciation that I have for his work and what I'm seeing, the effort that's going into it, and then me being the vehicle that could say, let's go to Icacos. I have family there. You haven't reached that far. When I will be a sort of a tour guide. I mean, if you could call me a tour guide, but I could be the tour guide, I could be the driver, and I'll take you there to do the collaboration. And it worked out well because he got to feature Icacos, and I got to feature what it is like in a day in the life of a creator. There's a video on my main channel called How to Vlog with Shine Story. So I want to say thank you to Shine Story, because Shine Story was the first person that I reached out to, and he was willing to collaborate. And at the time, one of the things you could always be worried about is that you're reaching out to somebody, let me call it small timer, but based on numbers, I'm a small timer. Would this person consider collaborating with me? It's things that could occur to you. And I reached out, and looking back on that experience, I am very grateful that Shine Story. So I want to say thank you as being the first person that I collaborated with. I appreciate it. From that point forward, all in mind if all I could ask some questions and let me just eat one little piece of roti again. Cause I real talking here, boy. So let me see if I could get like about 35 seconds to chew, and if you have any questions, ask it below there, and Kim, you have anything to say?
Your rookie probably had.
Yeah, boy, roti hard fast. Give me 30 more seconds, please. Kim, do me a little favor. Along the way, if there are important events that I might just be skipping because of memory or just missing it, if you could just remind me. You don't want to come and sit down here? You're good? Hi, Susie. How you doing? Fruits for 30 days. I could try some. Florence Kalicharan, thank you very much. Can you see? We want to see cake videos on your channel. Kim, let's have food to take out, boy. I say, Kim, let's have food to take out. 20 more seconds, sorry. That's okay, Annie. Annie, are you okay?
Are you okay, Annie?
Are you okay, Annie? Hey, sir. All you eat before you do a live. It kind of hard to do a live on you eat.
I didn't realize it started because I wasn't afraid it started.
Sorry, excuse me. The Kublal Singh diet, Kublal Singh make it 41 days, Yeah, boy. The Kublal Singh diet, I'm gonna get abs all in my head. Right.
I have cupcakes to make next week. Maybe I can eat that.
Cupcakes. Hey, listen now.
Israel velvet too.
Let me tell you something, You see my wife's Kimberly's red velvet cupcakes. I do comment on food, on videos and whatnot, but you see my wife red velvet cupcakes? They're out of this universe. They're amazing. You need to eat 6 of those cupcakes.
That's what you tell yourself.
That is why I tell myself every time she makes 6. Jacob, I was mentioning that to my mom, and there's like a whole family on YouTube, boy. So let's kind of continue where I left off. Excuse me. Thanks for the time. Excuse me.
Using camera, the same camera that just started.
Yeah, so about using the same camera and then collaborating with Shine Story. And then from Shine Story, there are a bunch of other people that I meet through. I could think about meeting PC, going on a behind the scenes video shoot for a music video that I haven't seen up to now. I could think about View 868, Reaping Where You Sow, so they Trini out and about with Trouble. There's a whole team. Trouble was kind enough to collaborate when I had this kind of crazy idea for this podcast, playing all fours, and it worked out well. People responded to it, and I think is an honor for me to be in a space with people that doing work like that have subscribers and viewers that appreciate the effort that goes into it. And every video I work on is, like with y'all in mind, in terms of would they like this? Is there a particular piece of this that might stand out to Stephanie Lopez or Rosalind, who happens to be my cousin? Ravi Singh might like this piece of notishness here, boy. A short. Um, so it is a privilege, and it is worth knowing that everything that we do as content creators in the different spaces that we may be in, that we have a huge responsibility to the people that watching, like you all 49 are you all tuned into the live right now. So thank you very much for that. We have a huge responsibility to each other to keep that bond as strong as it is could be, and then to the viewers and the respect that the viewers deserve. Oh gosh, Owen, how could I forget your name? You see, I always call him when he shows up, but I didn't remember Owen the Guns. Real important person to me. Real important person in terms of like technical feedback, crazy ideas that I might have, just run it by him, and you say, this to stand out. Oh yeah, that red wall use could work, man. It's mild. It's not too spicy. You could get away with it. And I value Owen. Owen has been there from day one, you could say. And I don't even know how we reconnected, because I thought the first capacity we worked in is that I taught him Java programming. Well, I hope he learned something. My daughter went Java programming, and then years passed, and um, we reconnected around the time that or before that I was doing Red Wall News. So I appreciate the people that I have had the opportunity to collaborate with until this time, and I look forward, God willing, to collaborating with more people, as long as it adds some sort of value or some sort of sense to it. Along the way, I don't know how it happened, but I started moving away from Red Wall News in a kind of dedicated manner. And the hey, Shine Story man, I was just talking about you. Big up to you, sir. And so I was doing family vlogs, but more in the area that we have here in Cora. Unfortunately, my brother and I, we live close. Our families live close to each other, and he had at the time opened a workshop, and it was just interesting to be experimenting with a camera, working together, doing stuff what may seem like monotony or something that's invisible to each other, so to say, or to others. There's this life. There's this life in Cora. We just live in. You building a table, and I taping it. Hey Kim, you making a omelette. Hey Haley, your birthday party coming up, and you film it and you edit it, trying to put the effort. And so I am thankful for that experience as well, and the people that worked with it along the way. Oh, one of the videos that we did also while making those sort of kind of family vlogs in the area here. One of the videos that came out of it was we had cooked wild hog. That was one of the videos, and that wild hog video, people responded quite well. It was just like a kind of wild hog lime, nothing grand, but that's like, hey, there's some Trinidad lime in here. And viewers, commenters responded well to it. And I think the channel kind of took a turn in that sense, in that it was going, positive, and or reaching more people. And then further along, I encounter by chance and Mr. Butt. And that was, I feel like it's just one of the stories that I could understand and not understand at the same time. There's this foggy areas to this meeting, because I have never gone into it in great detail. I meet Mr. Bat on the junction. I'm waiting for a car to go up into Cora. But the rest of that day and all the pieces that led up to it, it is quite an interesting story that I haven't told as yet. I haven't shared that aspect of the story. but I work with Mr. Bat. We I've spoken about it already that yeah, now just look at this old fella with his blue van trying to guess his age with his tank on the back of it, come outside with a kind of cowboy kind of walk. He say yes to he says in 2021, correct?
Yeah.
He says yes to giving a stranger a drop in Trinidad. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And when I was walking, I was thinking about this the other day. Like when I walking out Dinsley Road as a youth man, right? Or I walking towards Trinity Mall. Boy, my head used to be like it on a swivel stick. Because all I doing is turn around to see if I can make eye contact with the person who passing. And they be like, yeah, I drop out the road. It's like that is what life is about. That is what life was about. And then after a while, the years go by and your parents start to tell you certain things and people start to disappear and whatever. And it's like, all right, don't let that head, the head used to swivel, but then it used to be like, let's not do that. Don't look around anymore. You're not too safe. So through an act of kindness on his part, I met Mr. Bat and I always talk about like the kind of like uncle I could come up and check you. And he was game. He had a natural love for documentaries and history that came out and his appearance and then the place that where he lives, the natural beauty of the place, the streams in the backyard, Babadine on the hills. It was just it captivated people in a whole different way. And it's interesting because when you YouTube for the people that look at the viewers, I'm talking to the viewers here now. There's an aspect of YouTube called YouTube Studio. And when you open YouTube Studio, you get to see detailed analysis of how each one of your videos are performing. So, for example, just to give you some quick examples, one of the things you would see is audience retention rate. So, say, for example, 3 or 4 days after I post this video, I will have a sense of concurrent viewers during the live stream. And more than that, I will get a sense of how the chart of viewership looks over a period of time. So most times when you post a video, you will have 100% viewers. And then by the first maybe 30 or 40 seconds, that might dip down if it's not a video that you didn't craft too well. It might dip down to about 15% and the tail might drag decreasing as it goes along. You know who the 7% who reach the end of it is like the hardcore fans that they fear. Or the people who watch it from the TV and it's like, boy, that's like he talks shit with us in the background. Eh? They can't find the remote stick in the couch and they can't find it. You know? So that's the audience retention rate. Then another one of the charts that you have is your where your viewers are from, and then you have one where the age of the viewers. Because when you sign up, you would have set your account settings and your date of birth and whatnot, right? And when I did like the first two videos with Mr. Bat, the first two videos with Mr. Bat was I started to see analytics showing up for age groups like 55 to 65. And then there have been people that call me as like, son, how you going? I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm 82 years old. I'm 95. I was like, what are these people doing on YouTube? And so it started reaching a very different age group because of, and for the creators watching now, you'll always tend to attract, without even selling out your age, you will always kind of attract people who fall into your age group. Go and look at your analytics, and chances are that whatever your age is, there's a percentage of viewers looking at you that belongs to that same age group, right? So yeah, you attract a older audience with Mr. Bat. And when you do projects, like I have done projects in the past, thanks, thanks, Jacob. Thanks for watching until the end. if it not very interesting to me at the time, I would just choose to lock off. So that's I appreciate support like that. And when you do projects, because I like to do behind the scene projects, when you do these projects, you already think about learning. You already think about it. Like I meet Mr. Bat and like, all right, cool. And this might sound wrong, but you move on. It's like, all right, what's the next project? And chances are that I would have moved on if Mr. Bat hadn't checked me that Saturday morning and we had that coffee home by me here. And he's like, "So, what you doing?" And Kim was making a pepper pig cake that day
Yeah.
for Anna's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Anna's birthday. And I was like, "Babe, I'm going up by, Mr. Bat there and just slime a little bit." And I carried my camera. And Mr. Bat and I did the chula king from Cora. And it was at that point that I think a relationship kind of formed in the sense that this is something that I look forward. I do a lot of linemen going out. Yeah, we do our family things or whatever. But it became a kind of adventure for me to go and check this. Let me just say this way: this old fella that do anything quietly up in the bushes, living this lifestyle, and I still don't. As I say, I still don't understand pieces of it, but it went along, and I owe huge thanks to the deceased Mr. Bat for for who he was. There's so many things that I have learned. Yes, I grew up in a family that I think shares, you're generous, but I was happy and consistently so. And I'm not boasting on my family or tooting our horn, but consistently so. You try to be decent people. But there was a certain level of a reminder. We went to the waterfall together, and that oh boy, man. Oh God, boy. That was Mr. Bat talking about. Oh God, boy. Oh God, boy. Whenever Harry pull out the shout food boy and Harry had Mr. Bat that plate. Oh God, boy. Thanks, Kim. Thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, that was the day that I met Mr. Harry when we came back from the waterfall. And I'm thankful for meeting Mr. Harry. Mr. Harry, that was the first time I saw him, man. The first time I saw him was in a van coming down the road with Mr. Bat, and Mr. Bat had stopped. I would have seen the man inside of that van. I think I come home and tell him about it, like him. Oh, the men are everybody have big white beard and looking serious. And Harry, them eyes is just be darting, eh? He's saying, all right, Mr. Bat. Yeah, all right. You go ahead, you go ahead. We can talk sometime. And you meet Mr. Harry. And yeah, Mr. Harry is who he is. Mr. Bat is who he is. And as I would say to them, I am always all thankful. And I always appreciate how different they are. They embody the same values. They share it, man. They never come by you with their hands swinging. They always have something to give you. They always have some a piece of wisdom to share with you, a story that could entertain you, make you laugh, make you go, serious, that happened to you? You could have my puppy longer than twice as long as me. But he's really a bushman. So it always had moments like it, and I was always appreciate how different was a show like a sitcom with two men that is real different, like Two and a Half Men. It's like Two and a Half Men kind of way, or Big Bang Theory or some kind of thing.
Well, they have similar interests, but you would be the opposite.
Yeah, boy.
Family matters. With
And I am very thankful for them sharing their experience so freely. There was At first, maybe there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say resistance, but maybe a little bit of skepticism, whatever, on Mr. Harry's part. And I think as time kind of go along, and I want to say this on Mr. Harry's behalf and Mr. Bat's behalf, along the way, we've met a number of people when we go out together, whether it's from to deliver limes to people who have been kind enough to order and support us in one way. And Mr. Harry is always grateful. He would always express to me that Linden boy, people so nice out there. There's so many nice people out there. And it's a sentiment that is wonderful to hear in Trinidad, because there's a little piece of it that kind of make you, I don't want to say long for the old time days, but like, what if we think that a lot of what we have has disappeared, but it hasn't actually disappeared? It's just there, and it just need a little, prod it with a little stick and see if it come alive. He's always very grateful. So on his behalf, thank you very much. Is there any particular, and you could feel in the comment section as well to share it, anything that I might be forgetting to say thank you for? People I work with, share their expertise, work behind the scenes with, along the way, Richards, Baker and Shark, Trinidad News, they were kind to me. So there are a number of, and when okay, say for example, there's a particular profession in here. Look, I see a name in the comment section there. Let's say reaping what you sow. Reaping what you sow. You may be watching this, and you're into farming, and you have the opportunity that you could link with people that could add values to Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean as a whole, by you linking up with somebody that has that has shown that kind of interest. Because when you watch a YouTube channel in Trinidad, chances are you'll come across another one in the recommended videos. So what I'm saying, long story short, is that you may be a viewer that have a particular type of business that you're working with. I'm not talking about sponsored content and that type of thing. I'm talking about the opportunity to work with someone and open a door for someone that they could bring value to the video space, because we have access to this portal here, that we could preserve a lot of parts of or things in Trinidad that if we don't do it, it could be lost. So, find, as you explore, always think about areas, not just as a creator, but as a viewer. Am I doing something that I could share with somebody and some that may be interested in doing it? I hope I said that clear enough. I feel like I was a little bit difficult there. Was that sorry? What was the last thing Mr. Bat told you? I'll tell you one of the early things he said to me on Corpus Christi Day when he met. He was very happy that he made a breakthrough with selling some of his orange trees that he had planted. And we were following that journey from the time he started a new business, starting a new agriculture business with Mr. Bat. So he was happy to have made a kind of breakthrough along those lines. So I'll share the first thing. But there is, as whenever time allows, there's that Corpus Christi Day video that I was working with, where I was last with him and Mr. Harry. So I'll turn to the comment section a little bit and see if they have any other questions, and then maybe I could wrap up the live. And thanks for those of you all that watching until the end here right now. Oh yes. Oh yes. SBCS. Thank you. SBCS have supported me tremendously over the years. From book launches, crazy ideas that I would go with, SBCS has been a huge supporter. And when I approached with the idea of sponsored videos and maybe committing to some in a sense, and they did. And it's an obligation that I still have to fulfill, because along the way, when I had probably done like about the 6 sponsored video with them, Mr. Bat passed away, and it was a kind of a little bit difficult to enter that whole mindset of sponsored videos and whatnot. But SBCS Thank you very much. Everyone who I have worked with indirectly in videos, showing up in some capacity, everyone I've collaborated with. But a huge thanks to SBCS. So thanks for that, Kimberly and Susie. Thanks very much for that reminder. And future viewers, subscribers, everybody that take a moment to look out, even if it's for 30 seconds. Thank you very much. You have anything to say?
You're supposed to be answering questions.
So yeah, I supposed to be answering questions. I kind of looking for some popping up along the way, but not really seen any. But super interesting, great job and content. Yes, Susie, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. So here what? I will answer questions as I go along, but I'll be answering those questions while eating a hard roti that get hard because of the air condition and some cabbage here. So, but thanks for joining, and I really appreciate your time. Mm. So I'll just be answering questions right now. Mm. Let me see if Jacob go watch until the end of this one.
Someone says you don't leave the house on a Sunday.
Man, come in swinging their way. So yeah, that's a nice question. Thanks for asking it. Jacob said, someone told me you don't leave the house on a Sunday. If so, how come? So it's not that I don't leave the house. We grew up as Christians, and it just became. So I try to go to meetings on Sundays as much as I could. But a habit that our parents adopted with us is that on a Saturday you would tend to be home early in preparation for the Sunday meeting or service, and you honor the Sabbath. You respect it as a day of rest. So you keep it quiet. So this isn't to say I have gone to weddings and maybe even engagements in the past, but it is something that we try to avoid. If you can keep your Sunday as quiet as possible, that's just what we try to do.
That's
So
something I grew up with too.
yeah, and Kimberly grew up with it, and I guess we put we head together. Imagine if you had like to go party on a Sunday, and I'd be like,
That's a good thing I don't party.
wait, watch me now. Yeah, that's all like it. All the other days your party, Yeah, but that is way that pressure way. Thanks for that question.
Would your girls like to have a YouTube channel?
There is Susie, thanks for your question. There is a little bit of interest that you would see with Haley. She'd come in or see me editing, and she's like, "What are you doing? Editing a video." She sometimes you'd hear her to say like she might glimpse. What's the videos you would show them like on TikTok where they say choose a color,
What? Guess the color.
guess the color, and then bam, somebody pops something and it squeeze out purple or yellow or whatever, right? So she might because she might be seeing those things or have a sense of AI into video editing and writing. She'd be like, "Daddy, do you think this is a good story for a TikTok video?" I'm like, "What are you talking about TikTok? You gotta wait till this about 25."
But she does have a channel.
And so yeah, Haley has a channel, and she came. Here's this, right? So I take a couple of videos to them and edit the Haley and Anna show, right? But one day Haley came to me and she said, "Daddy, I would like to do a time lapse about me building a tower." So I was like, "All right, cool. Let me see if I could set it up for you and encourage the thing." So I go, did I get a tripod or something for? Or I'll lean up the
No,
phone
you
on
just leave
something.
it up on the
I'll
other
lean up the phone. So she leaves the where she has the tower set by the island, and she walks around and she looks at the screen and she says, "Daddy, I don't like this angle. You have to move the phone." And I was like, we tell me about angle, so there. We know about angle. So it's amazing the things that your children you know they pick up, they see you doing. And so I think there will be an inclination. She does have a strong inclination to write, particularly when she's meeting.
But she was always like to do videos, you know. Somebody he's
Mhm.
yeah, she might be a good one.
Yeah, loves to take pictures and whatnot. Hey, Simi, how you going? So, Susie, I hope I answered the question there. Mr. Lyndon Kim, Kitty Pie's daughter, peaceful, safe night. I'm out. Simi, thanks very much for your support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Annie, a question for Kim. What cocoa powder will you recommend for chocolate cake?
I use Cadbury.
She used Cadbury's.
Yeah, I tried the Hershey's, but it's too rich for me. Not the price, the taste of it. I don't really like dark chocolate, so I use like a mix of the.
Sorry, come on. The person may not be here. Come on, answer the question now. Excuse me, let me finish my routine. I'll just off the Kim.
You know, but last time I came here, I threw down a bhaji pile. I don't know which one it is. I used the brown Cadbury. I speaking into the dead cat. Yeah. But yeah, I like that one because it gives a milder flavor than the Hershey's. And I've seen any other questions for you.
You did.
Second generation YouTuber Haley and Anna. Yeah, I think so. You're welcome, Annie. So, Lyndon, question for you. Do you think meeting Mr. Bat and Mr. Harry has motivated you as a YouTuber?
What specifically?
Specifically as a YouTuber. Do anything of this to you?
No. Let's have finish my routine. That's a real good question, boy. I think.
Can I answer?
Yes.
I think so. Just
Okay.
plain and simple, I think so.
So I think so. So Kimberly says she thinks so. In terms of how, okay, so what makes it that way? There is a branch of YouTube and videos where is about peace and is about changing to captivate the viewer's attention. You're probably changing scenes. Your dialogue may be a little bit more rapid fire. There are certain elements that you would use to kind of grasp the person's attention, right? Do I use it from time to time? Yes, I do. But it's not something that I particularly like because it kind of feels like a cheat or a hack that you're using to like you ever open an app to check something, but then you realize you maybe open YouTube or TikTok in error because habitually. And you just realize after a while that it's almost like this is your phone and this is you. And literally you feel like you're being absorbed into some world that's so addictive and captivating.
And 2 hours pass.
And then 2 hours pass and it's like, your wife sleeping and so how has it motivated me as a YouTuber? I think it allowed me to step back and say, I am in a space that these men treat a certain way and they have an utmost respect for it. They respect nature, they respect the land, and I realized it quickly. And well, it was all the things that happened before helped me realize it, that I needed to show the same respect to the land and the same respect for time. So you will notice something. My videos with Mr. Butt move a little bit slower than my videos with Mr. Harry. And those videos with them move a little bit slower than if I am doing like a family vlog or maybe one of the challenges that we have. My choice of music must not be jarring. It must not upset the land. And I know this sounding like kind of maybe real high man kind of talk, but it just needed to show it just needs to show a certain level of respect. So it has motivated me from the way that it has inspired me to say, hey, It's not always about pace. It's about maybe moving, slowing it down. It's not always about hip lo-fi rap beats, however the case may be that I like. I tend to use a lot of hip hop and lo-fi stuff in like my Red Wall News videos, for instance. But yes, thank you very much for that question because I would have never really, I would never think about it in the context of being a YouTuber. I think about it as a human being that, yeah, but I have a different appreciation for life and time. But as a YouTuber, definitely. Thanks for that question. Great question. Uh Florence, Mr. Batiste, are you consider would you consider writing a book about deceased Mr. Bat and also Mr. Harry? I have spoken. There is a video with Mr. Harry. I don't remember which one it is right now, but I suggested to him, I say, Mr. Harry, has he ever considered writing a book? And he probably just dismissed it at that point in time. We have had subsequent conversations in that, Mr. Harry, would you consider writing a book? I would help you write the book, and it would all be under your name and all those details, however the case might be. This would be your book. And he's like, let me think about it. So he's still thinking about it. We'll see what happens along those lines. But thank you very much. And Mr. Bat has inspired a lot of the books I've done even as a writer and book editor, that is. Your videos, those that to me, all hours I just be watching. Thank you. Your raw channel, the vids are edited to a certain degree. Susie, no. When I start taping, yes, they edited in a certain degree in that I may need to string clips together. So I was kind of going for videos at first, and then I realized if I change location, it's not always realistic to do that. So the editing comes in terms of I need to trim something maybe at the beginning or the end. So it's a kind of consistent flow, a kind of long take flow. But if we change locations and you don't get anything in between, I would just string it together. But I haven't done. Yeah.
No music, no nothing.
One thing I should add to that is the videos that you would see, like the reaction videos, the news that I read in the morning, and anything that I want to kind of experiment with outside of the main channel, those videos. But no vlogs like the Tobago vlogs or whatever. No, they're not edited, like cuts in between or whatnot, apart from stringing the clips together. View 868, it's true. It's true. Music and the pace was good. Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. Rufus 1986. You're gonna start back using your IG account?
You didn't teach the second
I
person. I could say you're not on Instagram anymore, but you are.
I should I
You
like
use it.
I have my Instagram account, but
You just don't use it. You don't post it.
yeah, I don't really post there. But is in terms of what, like pictures or videos or something that you would like to see along those lines? I don't know if it has a particular. I'd like to hear like your expansion of your reason in terms of using the Instagram account, in terms of what it could bring to the table that maybe YouTube doesn't. Because Kim say, you know, people have asked that question. Another person asked that question.
Yeah, somebody told Melinda, and I sent on. Oh right, they sent me a video. I think he sent a where he bought one of the roast pork sandwiches, and he said, "Show Lyndon because he's not on Instagram. Tell him get on Instagram." But he has Instagram. He just doesn't use it.
Yeah, very, very rare I would log into it. But I'd love to hear the reason for your question. Jacob, how is the vacation planning for Mr. Harry going? So yeah. So what I've done is when I made that, I'm looking at different types of accommodations that are available. So when I spoke to Mr. Harry, he said to me that I am more interested in a hotel, not a hotel, sorry. I'm more interested in being able to move around the island freely. So for instance, if I start off and I want to be able to spend one night here and then maybe jump across to another part and spend another night. So I turn my attention to Airbnb type, apartments, maybe something with a kitchen. And
there's also something you could probably check out, couch surfing.
Couch surfing?
Yeah. So
you feel Mr. Harry about couch surfing, Antigua?
But that might help him move around if he wants to move. But you have to be putting a lot of trust in people.
I don't think I want Mr. Harry couch surfing. Yeah. Something tell me that's about it. No, but he real.
Airbnb would be the best choice.
Yeah, so Airbnb. So when I was looking at the prices of different Airbnb, it's amazing the big difference between like what those top tier hotels like you might just come across if you search on Expedia, because it looks realistic that we will be able to maybe get rates or cover the stay for let's say 900 to 1,000 US dollars. And oh yes, people that I need to say thank you to as well along those lines is a couple of three different organizations have reached out along the lines of they would like to do sponsored videos, and I have a commitment of from one person that they want to take for 2 slots, and it will be so the Airbnb will definitely bring down the price in terms of the overall. So as spare time allows, I'm looking at how to kind of plot a chart. If anybody have any ideas, please feel free. But I would bring down the cost and people showing interest in terms of sponsoring. So I had to call Mr. Harry today and I was like, hey, Farmer Harry, people showing interest in over here. Do you think we had to start to tape some videos so that we can have sponsored content? So yeah, that's another part of the puzzle there. So how about looking at YouTubers in the country to help? Great idea, Jacob. And I've reached out to 2 of them by email already. And I should probably check my email to see if they've responded. Is that more roti by chance? Yeah. No, I'll go and get it and everything, but I just wondered. Yeah. I should need 2 pieces of roti is enough. Let me stop there.
No, I gave you a small one.
Yeah.
So you could probably get away with them.
He does edit like Jacob now. String it together. I just cut. Oh, something the person that asked the question about the motivation for the YouTube channel. Working with Mr. Bat and Farmer Harry taught me a very important lesson. And I mean, there's nothing that I could say is along the lines of book or something I've studied or whatever, but camera movement. Things like when to turn your attention to, or we, from an person to an inanimate object, how long to remain there. It is also interesting because it is entirely based on instinct, and I don't think that I would have had the opportunity to learn anything along the lines of camera movement in that sense or that approach if I hadn't met with Mr. Bata and Farmer Harry. Yeah, something about the camera movement just feel a little bit more fluid, and the pacing of it, and I think it helps me to I think it helps me today in terms of even creating the videos, the raw for the raw channel. Susie, thank you very much, and good luck. Zahira, good night. How you going? You missed. I read from my book, Oh My Testicles. We've been having some conversations. I've been thanking people, and if you rewind to some spot in this video, you will hear your name called alongside 303-204. But I'll call it again, so you don't need to do that. Yeah, big up to you, Zahira, and thanks for your support. Nice. You should comment under their video so they know to look at their emails. I'm guilty of not always looking. All right. Yeah, thanks. I could do that. Antigua used to have guest houses run by citizens residents, but not sure if still available. I feel you'll see a lot of maybe those type of guest houses, Rosalind, on Airbnb. Maybe because I saw some of them pop up there. So I don't know if they market it that way. By the way, I also did an interview with Mr. Muhammad last year. Mr. Muhammad from Graphic Scripts Printing. Yeah. So what do you think is a good time to end this live? At 1 hour and 25 minutes or 1 hour and 30 minutes? 30. Yeah, maybe 30 because it'll just be like a hour later. So I'm ending the live at 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's 1 hour and 24. So if you all have questions for Kimberly, still here. If you all have questions for Kim or myself, that's fine. Yeah, well, you guys, thanks here. I appreciate it. The professor. Why don't I ring a bell for me? No, no, I don't, I don't think so. I'm not too sure. Mohammed, oh, is this somebody from Antigua or ever? So view 868, tell me now when we see that video from your brother.
Somebody said he was the person already.
They are doing a lot better than I am doing. Adjusting to school reopening. They doing fantastic. We pleased to see how well they going on. I thought, after this, because it's come like their first vacation, that they had 2 months vacation, and is amazing. I asked Healy, I said, Healy, I said, which one you like more? School or vacation? And she looked at me and she said, I like both of them.
Not
And-
the answer we would have given.
And she shocked me because I would have never get an answer. It's like, you're my child. Yeah. So that's a fantastic answer, boy, that you could look down the middle and see, hey, I like both of them. I don't need to choose one or the other.
What she told me is that why there's so many weekdays and not as many.
Oh, yeah, look at
weekends.
that. You see, look at the thing these children learning in school. Why are there so many weekdays and only 2 weekends? Why? So, I mean, there's nothing a YouTube capacity that I may be thanking them there, but I really want to thank the teachers that they've worked with and the schools that have educated them so that they could be at the place that they're wondering why it have so many weekdays. I wonder if they're wondering why it have on like physical school too, eh?
No, she finished that last question. She did that. She exhausted that question last too.
Why they have physical work? Why you need to go to? That's the question Kim asking.
Yes, every day.
Yeah. So how the trip with Mr. Harry? So we were talking about that just now. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at like apartments and around the island because he wants to have a kind of nomadic type vacation experience. So I'm looking at apartments that are more reasonably priced with the hope that we could get the accommodation from like maybe if it could fall like in that 800 to 1,000 US price, even cheaper than that, that will be great. But of course, I want to be able to say that, you've stayed at some places that are comfortable, you like it. And if he wants to, one of the things that Trini0324 suggested to me, and my sister as well, and I think it's a great idea that if he wants to be able to move around, is it a manner where you'll be taking a taxi from here to there, or does it make more sense to say, well, you're going to hire a driver that is committed to you for that space of time, that they could pick you up, take you to your next location, maybe carry you around, and that might be maybe safer or more cost effective than having a taxi to call one every time. I don't know. So maybe you might have knowledge that you'll be able to share in that area. So is this all things that we
They have Uber in Antigua.
Uber? You imagine Harry whipping out the phone there and it's like, which one let not tell me to open there, boy? No, hey, listen there. Is something that amazed me with the relationship with Mr. Bat and Harry. Things you'll observe. Mr. Bat, 71 years old. Mr. Harry, 60 years old. And Mr. Bat had almost zero interest in technology, yeah?
Zero.
no, but he liked TV and he liked the westerns. When he take any little break, he go say, watch a western my daughter last night, he would express that. So the western, he was put on the TV, watch the western, take it off and go and sleep. But to say like phone and WhatsApp or sit down and open something on YouTube, nah, Mr. Bat didn't want any part of that. And then 10 years, Mr. Harry. And Mr. Harry the other day telling me I have real songs on Spotify. I was like, I only know what Spotify because I'm Kim. It's like, what Spotify? I said, so what, this offline? He said, yeah, when I go and I get my internet, he still can download it on my U right now. Yeah. It's like, Mr. Harry on Spotify, and I ain't even on Spotify. Why? Once he have his news apps, his Spotify, YouTube, he good to go. And he's always appreciative of comments I mentioned in our video, perhaps as well, that he is he reads comments. That's his hobby more than watching the videos. He likes making the videos, yeah, but he loves reading the comments and different people that pouring in comments. So he appreciates it.
He used to read books, now he reads comments.
Yeah. He used to watch movies. He said, "Mine is reading comments right now." Um, Good night to you and your beautiful family. This is from Tashana. Watching watching Kim bake is so relaxing. I just love to see it. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. And Kim, you need to really make some cupcakes, some red velvet cupcakes.
No.
No, sometime. Hey, what will be? Hey, it's past 1:30. But quick question. Like, what will be something cool to do? Like, you bake some cupcakes and you choose some random subscriber and get them a dozen cupcakes or something. Like, how you'll go about doing that? Because you can't give everybody. If we have X amount of subscribers, you can't make so much of cupcakes. So what's a fair way to do that? Like a giveaway? Cupcake giveaway? Um, I'm sure my deceased dad would have been like Mr. Bat. Bushman. Yeah, good man. He had a cowboy walk too, but a cutlass on the waist instead of the gun. And yeah, Rosalind, always. But I used to just be so angry at myself sometimes. I didn't press record in time to see Mr. Bad just drawing a cutlass to, and cheating it. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Harry really not easy. So she can have a cake sale. Yeah, we will plan something, God willing, and do some kind of, when we work out the logistics of it, some kind of cupcake giveaway or event or some kind of thing. Raffle for Mr. Harry for his trip. What's that? Oh, yeah, boy, like in primary school where you
And raffle for cupcakes. They paid money
way.
for Mr. Harry.
But what a raffle you used to raffle and you win a prize or something. But it used to be something you scratch and you see if you win.
Well, you fill out, you have like slots, and people pay it for like $5 or $1 for
Yeah.
the more slots you take, the better chance of winning.
But next thing police come and lock me up, girl. Yeah. So, folks, thank you very much for tuning into the live. I will add timestamps to it so that you'll be able to navigate through quickly if you want to jump to like the question and answer section or where I read from Oh My Testicles. So, thanks very much for your support in whatever way you bring it forward, views, comments, just being here. And it really means a lot. It means a lot. And I know everyone that I work with and would like to work with in the future, we appreciate it. Good night. Have a safe night and a nice night. And thanks for taking time out of your schedule to tune in. I appreciate it.